Hello there, welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly, and tonight's layout is part of a Stretch a Card Sketch Challenge that is a team challenge from my team called the Snapshots. I've decided to use the Country Lace DSP paper collection. I love denim blue and gray. I love blue and gray combinations and pink and gray combinations, and though they look muted when you look at them all mixed, if you pull out the blues and the grays and the little pops of petal pink, it's so lovely. I really have been dying to use this combination, and this is an online only DSP, and it's actually in low quantity. So I believe once it goes low quantity, when it's online only, it actually goes away forever. So I just had to use it and use it quickly. So this is the card sketch that we're using tonight, and the challenge was to stretch the sketch into a scrapbook layout. You could use anything you wanted, and anything from your stash or anything current, anything past. And so when you look in our catalog, there are all of these great card sketches and ideas. And in fact, that first one just shows a little bit of layering of paper. And to me, it's wide open, absolutely wide open, can just be any way that you wanted to layer paper. So I'm actually going to use a little bit of the Latte Love collection as well, the Stampin' Thin Cuts for sure. And this is my friend Ashley. Ashley started working part-time for me at the end of the school year this year, and she is, I believe, a junior in high school, and she's never been to my favorite coffee shop in the city called Harriet and Oak. Harriet and Oak has organic foods, and it has great coffee, and it has this adorable VW van inside of it. And I've used pictures with my friends from Harriet and Oak before, but you can see the VW van in the background, and Ashley had never been there, and she doesn't get to go to places like this too often, and so I thought I would feature Ashley. So of course I want to use the 3D circle embossing folder. Ever since I saw it, I've just been swooning over it. It is so detailed and it is so 3D. I absolutely love it. So I created a couple pieces out of that. And then, of course, you've seen probably the Latte Love collection. It has Latte Love dies, which has a vintagey vibe with a coffee press and all kinds of great coffee icons. You can either use these icons together or separate with the Latte Love stamp set. And people have used this set. I wanted to use it, but with a different background. And I absolutely loved creating this background by gutting L shapes out of the designer series paper. So we have a 12-inch piece, an 11-inch piece, a 10-inch piece, and then a 9-inch square. They're all 1 inch apart, and I've just literally cut an L shape out of it so that I could conserve all of the inner piece and not waste a lot of the paper. So I actually set the trimmer on 1 inch, and I'm going to cut from 1 inch in all the way down to 1 inch, and then rotate and cut 1 inch in and all the way down to create that L. So then you have that 12-inch L. Now I want an 11-inch L, then I want a 10-inch L, then I want a 9 by 9 inch piece for the center. So you're actually going to watch me make a mistake here. I've actually cut the gray striped pattern paper, and I forgot to pay attention to the way that the stripes were going. So automatically I have a boo-boo. So on the left, the vertical stripes are going up and down, and the horizontal stripes are going across. And I did it completely the opposite on the other page. So no problem. What I think I can do is actually cut those pieces apart. Or use an extra strip that I have. There will be a little bit of a splice that splices it together, but I think I can fix it, and I don't think it's going to show enough to bother me. So just something to keep in mind, paying attention to the way that the stripes go. So I have this long piece here that's going to work great. I'm going to cut 1 inch off of the end so that I can slide the vertical striped piece in place. So I will just cut that off off of the V, and then I've only, not even wasted, but I've only had to cut down an inch long piece that I'm sure I'll be able to use in another project. So I can live with that. I see the little splice, but it's really, really hard to see once you have all of the pieces in place. So my vision is that I will use the sketch inspiration in the center of the 9x9 pattern paper, and it's kind of a lace pattern. And then I'm going to create some pieces out of the stamp and thin cuts. Stamp and dies, excuse me. So in the Latte Love collection, the designer series Latte Love paper, there are these little coffee cups that have all kinds of designer coffee in the middle. And one of the dies from that set fits perfectly in those cups. I'm actually going to cut out 4 of those that are the Calypso coral, because the Calypso coral I think is going to tie in really well with the Petal pink pattern that's in the country lace collection. So of course we have the coffee press here, and I've used the espresso, and it's early espresso for the coffee. I used silver foil for the background, and then I actually layered that interior piece that you make there, white and vellum. I don't know that it made a difference or that I really needed to use the vellum, but I was kind of trying to make it a little bit translucent like a coffee pot. Then the mug, I created 2 of those out of white, and then I stamped it with the espresso, the early espresso again. And then I actually cut early espresso coffee out of the top. And then this cute little vintage pot, I used the handle, Calypso coral. The background I did in silver foil. I did early espresso for the center, and I did petal pink for the lid. So stinking cute. It's just adorable. Absolutely adorable. I love the combination of icons. I actually started out by making 2 spoons with silver foil, and then I realized that the spoon has a corresponding stamp set. So I actually pulled out some basic gray, I believe it is. It's either basic gray or smoky slate. I think it's basic gray. And then I stamped on that with the early espresso to create the spoons. Now I really want to create so that that cute background with the corners stays in place and doesn't get covered too much. And I vision maybe having a title up on the corner and going around the corners maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but I have a couple little ideas for that. So I have a white piece that's 6x6 that I use the 3D circle embossing folder on, and 2 4x6 pattern paper pieces. So I have the, I believe it's kind of a combination of Night of Navy and Misty Moonlight pattern, and then of course the Petal Pink pattern. And I love that combination. And all I really want to do is take that sketch and think of that as layering, any kind of layering of paper. Maybe there will be a little banner in the front of that, but just taking Ashley's photo and the coffee photo that shows Harriet and Oak in the background in the window. And then on the right page, I repeated the 4x6 pieces in both of the same patterns, but I made the circle embossed piece only 5x5 because I have 3 photos on this side, and I really didn't know how to incorporate the patterns because one of the photos is horizontal and 2 of the photos are vertical, but I think I can do some fun layering of those photos, and it's going to tie right into the sketch, which is the theme of layering. And then I can put the photo of Ashley in the VW van across the bottom, and maybe bringing out some of those patterns over to the right to create a little bit more of a linear feel off to the right. This is going to be eclectic and hodgepodgey. It's not going to be straight and uniform. So I think we can just play a little bit with those patterns off to the right. So I actually had 4 part-time workers for a long, long time, and life was going really smooth for me and for my paper crafting business. And then all at once, I suddenly lost all 4 workers, and I was without those workers for over a year. Just a little bit of part-time help within that year, off and on, kind of pieced together. So now I'm actually pulling out all those adorable pieces, and I'm just going to play with arranging those. I love the little Calypso coral cups, the tiny little mugs. I think maybe the large white ones might look better over here with the little vintage pot. So, so cute. So I'm just kind of putting it in place and seeing what I want to do here. Anyway, I lost all 4 workers at once, not on purpose. One had a knee replacement. One's father sadly went on hospice and then eventually ended up passing away. One took a job out in the country and sort of wasn't coming to town anymore, actually out closer to the ranch. And my paper crafting is in the townhouse. And then the other one moved away to college. And so you don't even really realize how hard it is to find help and the perfect kind of help. And so I looked and looked and looked high and low for over a year, and it was really getting frustrated, and I just kept getting farther and farther behind. In fact, I'm still so behind, but now with with Ashley on board, it's really helping so, so much. But I happened to find Ashley, and she is a high school student, and she's amazing, absolutely incredible. She's actually a country girl. She does rodeo. So I'm making a visual triangle here. I think this is what I want to do. I want to add some dimensionals on the coffee press and maybe dimensionals on one of the coffee cups to have a little bit of height there, high and low. I'll probably put the white coffee cups on the right flush and then pop up the vintage coffee pot. And then I will probably put the 2 cut out coffee cups up above Ashley there on the left page, maybe flush, maybe popping one up. Create that visual triangle that makes your eye go up from the lower left to the upper right of the left page and down again. Just a classic triangle. And anyway, so Ashley has rodeo, she has some sports, she has a busy farm, her family has farm and ranch, I think primarily ranching. And she said when summer was getting closer, she knew that I've been looking and looking, and our working part-time was working out really great. She was doing a great job. She was just made for it, so creative and so talented with very little direction. She's very self-motivating and motivated, and I'm just so grateful. Like I could almost cry how grateful I am for helping me get all my cutting done and all of the kits and all of the things that I was doing that I didn't have help for. And the one who had knee replacement was able to come back a little bit more part-time as she was getting better. The one that went away to college, which is my eldest granddaughter, was able to come back very, very part-time. She has a different summer job in the summer. So things are just looking up, and I was like, I just really need full-time. And so Ashley said if I could work around her rodeo schedule and the things that she has to do on the ranch, that she would totally work full-time and get the hours in one way or another. And it has been a dream come true, an absolute godsend. I can't tell you. She's incredible. We get along fantastic. It's right up her alley. She's super creative. So she has indoor and outdoor talents, and she's just very driven and self-motivated and just gets things done. And I'm so grateful. So she'd been working, and we call this the cave, even though it's in the upper level. And it has one window on one side, but when you're up here, time goes so fast and you just don't even know. It feels like you're in a cave because you're just up doing paper crafting all day. And so I said, you should come to the city with me. And she was talking to me about how she doesn't get to travel too much. And I was telling her about this little coffee shop that I absolutely love so much and that I often take friends to. And then we do the same photo op. And I'm like, I need to expand my horizons, but I love the food. I love the atmosphere. there, and I love the coffee there. And so she said she'd love to see it. So I said, how about this? I said, we've got jobs to do. And I said, if you don't care if it isn't paper crafting, you can drive my work car. I'll drive my bigger vehicle. We'll drive to the city, which is about a couple hours away. And I said, we'll go to the car wash while you're at the car wash with one. I'll go to the oil change place with the other. I'll come back with that one and we'll put that one through the car wash and we'll clean out the interior. I'll take the other one to the oil change place. And as our reward, we'll go have pedicures and we'll go to Harriet and Oak. And she was all down about it. And I was like, I'm making her work for it. So we went to Harriet and Oak and she had a great coffee and we had a great visit. And then we had pedicures and she had never had a pedicure before. And so it was just a fun, wonderful day. So I was thinking about how to tie all this into coffee. So I decided that if I could figure out a way to make a title that says The Perfect Blend, Coffee and a Friend. And so now I'm just doing this paper layering over on the right. I'm yakking away and not giving you measurements because there really isn't any need. It's basically just toggling things a little bit down on the right. It's eclectic. It's not uniform. So just tuck in those paper pieces till they're pleasing to your eye. I'm toggling them a little bit and mirroring how I did it on the left page on the top. I'm kind of mirroring that on the right page on the right side. And then we'll create a little scene there with the vintage coffee pot and we'll do some fillers with some of those little bits that we created. I've been loving this Latte Love collection. It's been used and used by Stampin' Up! Demonstrators everywhere, and everyone has been loving it. But I just thought with the blues in the VW van, the blues and a little bit of the Calypso coral colors in the brick and in the paint on the Harriet and Oak building, and then that, like I said, the vintagey van and the concrete, the gray from the concrete in there. It's kind of in an old warehouse. I thought that this collection was absolutely perfect, and the country laced has a vintagey vibe, and I'm just drawn to it. I don't know why I'm so drawn to it, but I just absolutely love it. And I think these little bits and pieces from the Latte Love collection have the vintage feel to it. So the vintagey vibe of the old warehouse and of the VW van and of the coffee just seem to fit perfectly. And then I don't have a ton to say. I'll probably add some journaling later that just talked about sharing the day with Ashley. And it was funny because she's so cute. Actually, before I tell that story, I actually didn't know what to do for a title. There isn't any real big title opportunities on the stamp set. I don't always have to have a big title, but I was in love with the idea of the perfect blend of coffee and a friend. And so I thought maybe I just had some random die cuts that were left over in my stash, and they're not quite the right color. So what I'm thinking in the back of my mind here is that maybe I could color them with the early Espresso Stampin' Write marker. And I wasn't even thinking. Ended up coloring them with the Stampin' Write marker, and then I looked up and I'm like, oh my goodness, I could have used the blending markers and it probably would have been so much faster, but I just wasn't thinking. But I also was looking for a little bit of help with the title here, and I got out some of the ephemera, and I bought several packages of the ephemera so that I would have some opportunities for bits when I was stuck. So I've been using stamps and dies a lot for my ephemera, which of course is great, but sometimes you just need a little bit of extra. Like it would be really nice to have a little sentiment or a little saying. So this is the Saying Something ephemera pack, and I think there's 6 sheets in here, 2 sheets each of there's words and then there's larger words in here, and that's why it's called Saying Something, because there's different size words, I believe like small, medium, and large. So I find a little saying that's the right color blue that says grateful, and then I find another one that says today is about you, because I said we're going to make it about Ashley and just thanking her for finishing almost her first month of full time. And just after 1 month of full time, it's like my anxiety and my pressure is releasing. I just feel like we're going to get there. It's probably going to take all summer to get me caught up from a year of not having the full-time help, but I can see the light, and I'm not kidding you. It just feels so great. Of course, then I had this mysterious illness a couple weeks ago, a stomach thing that lasted about a week and a half, and then I had a sudden death in my family, and I lost my brother. So it was like the perfect storm, and so this was so great that Ashley and I could do this. So here is that early espresso Stampin' Write marker, and I love the idea of using the coffee cutouts that I cut out from the dies as coffee. So the perfect blend, coffee and a friend. So I have that ephemera friend that I think I can color with the Stampin' Write marker. And then I have those die cut punch out letters that I think I can color with the early espresso marker. And then we can use the coffee cutouts as the coffee of the perfect blend, coffee and a friend. But anyway, it was so cute because I'm actually just trying out the marker on a Q. I don't use my Z's because I have a son named Zachary and I need my Z's, but I don't think I'll use a Q for anything. Now watch, I'll need something with a Q, but I just wanted to practice on the Q and also on the white ephemera to see if it colored well, and it colors perfect. I think it's going to really help to have the words and the letters be the coffee color. So I took Ashley to Harriet and Oak, and then it was so cute because I had told her I'd take her out for such a really nice lunch, that we would just go out and have a fancy, I always call it a cute lunch. We'll go have a cute lunch somewhere. And so I was thinking of all these places that I love to go that are just really places that you would take a girlfriend that would be just so fun. It has great atmosphere. And I said, you can pick anywhere you want. Where would you like to go? Here's some of the places. And she picked a place. It's not Jamba Juice, but it's something, I can't think of the name of it. And she's like, have you ever been there? And I'm like, absolutely not. And she's like, it's amazing. And I'm like, okay. So it was like this little sort of hole in the wall that made organic different types of smoothies. You could get some different lunches as well, like an acai bowl or some things like that. And it was very healthy. So I was proud of us because aside from our coffee, our breakfast was super healthy too, because they have organic breakfast there and really great breakfast. And so I got a spinach, let's see, there was 2 different kinds of vegetables in my smoothie, and they were huge, so they're like a lunch, and then pineapple, I think, and ginger. And so she was so tickled, and she was so adorable because she's like, now you tried something new and I tried something new. She said we're expanding our horizons, and she thought she was so pleased that she took me to a place that I'd never been and I never would have tried, honestly. And so now I'm looking at my sketch, and there is a banner across, but I'm actually feeling comfortable. Like, I really love I love the coffee colored letters now. I love the clusters. I love the visual triangle, and I'm getting happy. I absolutely love it. My mother always said, God rest her soul, that you should have friends that are all ages. You should have friends that are much, much older than you, that are your same age, and that are much, much younger than you. And it keeps you in the know, and it keeps you understanding perspectives of life. And I absolutely had a blast with Ashley, even though I think she's 16 years old. I think maybe she's 17. And I absolutely enjoyed her thoroughly. And I think my mother was absolutely right, my angel mother, that you should have friends from all ages and all walks of life to keep you in the know and to keep you well-rounded. I hope you enjoyed this layout that was just for fun, and it was a team challenge in my Snapshots team. If you're interested in a fun and creative team, I'll link in the description how to join Snapshots. See you soon. Bye.